think I told you I was thinking about getting a mountain bike. Well, I found one in New Hampshire, and they had to build it. Not that it's fancy, special, or anything else, it just wasn't built. And not real expensive or any of that kind of stuff. So I'm headed over there today to pick that up, and of course I got to get a helmet. And, you know, part of the reason is, of course, you know, to go ride the bike, but the other part of it is because grandkids are going to be, I don't know what they're going to be. You know, I don't know how school's like starts in a month. Will it go on for weeks, months? I don't know. You know, I have no idea. But you know, they've had a hard summer because they haven't been able to really do anywhere, go anywhere. We haven't usually take them to the beach in Maine. We haven't done that. There's been not a whole lot. So I just thought, well, maybe this fall we could do a little bike riding, and you know, they've got a lot of learning to do. So I haven't ridden a bike in a long time, so I've got a lot of re-getting in shape kind of thing. So I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but like I said, it's not a very fancy mountain bike. It'll do the job, it'll be fine. It's not really going to be for mountain biking per se, more gravel road riding and up and down the driveway, working with them, and then riding it myself. So that's where I'm off to today. Get a bike. On another totally different note, I think we're going to run into some sort of shortages. Sid and I went, well, a couple times in the last week, to Costco's to pick up big 25-pound bags of flour. And at Costco's, they're limiting 2 bags per customer, which generally speaking, that doesn't happen at Costco's unless they know something's coming down the road. So if you're going to do some baking or whatever later this summer, fall, there may be a shortage. When this all started, you know, the pandemic, COVID, whatever, I had told Sid, I said, I bet you this year RV sales, you know, campers are going to really go crazy. And, you know, we left it at that. Didn't think much about it. And, yeah, the camper sales have gone crazy because people have, you know, said they're going to still do something. They're going to isolate a little bit more. But they still want to go and do things and that kind of stuff. So they are. So we went and looked at, in the next town over, there's a, used to be a school. It's got a lot of space, 58,000 square feet of buildings and 300 acres of land. Really nice property. It's been vacant for quite a number of years. But, you know, we looked at that. But the problem is that it's 1.5 million, needs repairs. It's going to take time. And I don't know anybody who's got, you know, like really deep pockets who is willing to make a longer term investment type thing until it gets going. But it's one of those things that if you did, I think that's going to be an up and coming opportunity for people, because that RV camping is not going to go away, because all those people, we went to Burlington, and there's a couple, you know, RV sales places along the way, and the amount of campers that have been sold is just incredible. So those people who paid 30, 40, 50, whatever, thousands of dollars are not just going to say next year, if this is all done, oh, well, we'll go do something else. They're probably going to continue doing that for years to come. So that, would be a great opportunity, but the amount of money to just buy a piece of land or that property, the reason we looked at that property was with all the buildings, we thought, okay, well, we could chop up the buildings and sell those off as part of it, recoup the 1.5 million hopefully, but you'd still need money to operate. You need money to put in the infrastructure for camping, electricity, water, sewers, permits, a myriad of things. But it's an idea anyway. I always have ideas, but just never have enough money to do the ideas. My ideas tend to be rather expensive sometimes. Well, by the look of the amount of cars parked up here, this is Crawfords Notch. There's plenty of people going to be on the trails today. I think the kids, grandkids, and their parents are going to go hiking, but that's in Vermont. This is in New Hampshire. So, again, it's one of those things. There's always been tons of people going hiking, but right now, because you need to do things sort of outside and it's summer and all that kind of stuff, there's lots of, like, our daughter going hiking. Unheard of before. This whole COVID thing is, the longer it goes on, and it's going to go on a while for the U.S. especially, but the longer it does go on, there's going to be all kinds of changes in society and business, everything. Yesterday at the farmer's market, there's a lady I know who's big in one of the local banks, and so we were chatting. We've known each other for years, and she said, yeah, one of the sectors that they're most concerned about is commercial real estate, office space and stuff like that, because more and more people are staying home, working from home, that kind of thing. So that market is going to be severely hit. So I guess, they're concerned, because if somebody took out X millions of dollars for an office space and there's virtually nobody renting it, it could be a problem. I mean, that's just one of the things that's going to change. I mean, so many aspects of everything, I think, are going to be changed for quite a while, if not forever. And I don't know, is it a good thing, a bad thing? I mean, I sure wouldn't want to be in the airline business. I mean, I think they've got probably, best guess, 3 to 5 years before they came back, and that's if everything goes well. That same lady was telling us about some businesses she was working with and some others, and they were doing 5-year business plans now relating to how COVID's going to affect their business, how they're going to adapt to it, etc., etc. So it's a new world, and a lot of people I know don't want it to be a new world, and I get that, but it is changing, and that's how you've got to react to it. If you just stay in the old way, it's just not going to work. At least I don't think it's going to work. So remember after 9/11, all the predictions were that there was going to be a massive surge of people moving from cities to more rural areas like Vermont and this, that, and the other. Well, that didn't actually happen. I don't know, the exact whys or whatever, but people are saying the same thing now, and I think there's going to be a certain amount of people who will, and some of those people, I happen to know some of them who have moved to Vermont. There's people from California, I know, people from Philadelphia, people from Florida, and what they've decided is that, yeah, it's not worth it. Yeah, you've got certain things in those places that you don't have here, but it's not worth it to them. But one of the big obstacles for here anyway, is the internet. We don't have totally accessible internet for everybody anywhere. So somebody comes up here and they want to buy a house, they love the house, it's da-da-da-da-da, but they're still working. And, I know one couple, she's still working for a company in California. They have a house, they're hopefully having a house that will have internet. She can continue doing that, and it works out wonderful. But that's one of the things that in this part of the world, the internet's not an optional thing anymore. It's a necessity, really, and now it's become even more so. I actually have a meeting on Tuesday. It's a group, they're statewide, different ones, about how to get internet service to basically everywhere within the confines of the state. The costs are, phenomenal. You can't mandate, of course, that X, Y, or Z company be able to provide internet service to every home wherever. So I don't know exactly how it would be done. The state allocated, I think, 20 million. 20 million is like nothing. You're probably talking hundreds of millions to do it. This is a relatively rural state with a lot of spaces in between. Now, Elon Musk has put up his satellites, and I've signed up to be a beta tester for the internet satellite. That has some potential too, but there's got to be a way to have an internet service, and then I think you'd see more people. And of course there's going to be people who, we don't want people moving here, that's no good, all these people coming, and that, that's not the case. When people move around, yes, they bring different ideas with them, different foods they like, but my opinion is that's a good thing. Somebody moves in, they've got a different idea how things should be done. That's great. Doesn't mean it's going to happen all over, but it's an idea to think about, and maybe you like. Maybe there would be an Indian restaurant that came into town, and enough people from other places, or even people who hadn't had it before, although Vermont's not too much into the spiciness, or Vermont people. I am. So, but internet's a big thing, and if it's going to, people are going to expand outside of cities and move to other places like Vermont and pay their taxes and all those other things that will eventually help a state, especially Vermont, you have to have the internet. Sort of on that same vein, if you want people to move to your state, i.e. Vermont, then maybe the state should have some type of incentive, so that if somebody is, say they're working in California or online working in California, they're getting California wages. Maybe if they buy a property and claim residence or something like that, they would get a year income tax free. That's an idea. They had this thing, I think they still might even have it. If you move to Vermont and do certain things and whatever, you get $10,000, and that's like in credits. It's not like $10,000 in cash. But you know, that's not really a great incentive. But maybe if they did some type of incentive, like the wage thing, people would say, oh, okay, so we can move to Vermont, buy a place there, live there, raise the kids there, whatever, and for a year or whatever, they'll come up with some type of a deal, and they'll forego on the income taxes for a little while, and they get the residence and they get the property taxes and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think, you know, they have to start thinking a little differently than they have in the past. Take a look at this road, and this is, you know, common for a New England road. This isn't anything different. Look at how wide it is, the shoulders on it, and all of that. Not a lot of room for bikers, are there? Took a little detour up to Canon, Cranmore Mountain, and I haven't skied here in, I don't know, probably 30 years. But the green one is a regular groomer, and the red one is, see the winch on the front? It's a winch cat. So it works on steep slopes. So what it does is that piece on the top can spin around, and so it hooks onto something, because the terrain would be too steep for it to drive up and down solely. So it hooks that thing, there's a big cable in there, and that cable hooks onto something up on the mountain, and then it goes down, and then it flips the thing around, and then it helps pull itself back up the mountain. I think Burke has, I think it has one of those too. Basically, that's the groomer. And what it sort of looks like a sort of a snow rototiller. And it chops up the snow, and then see on the back of it, that plastic thing, that just smooths it all out. And if you, I don't think you can see it quite well enough, but it has grooves in it, and that's how you get the corduroy look. Well, I picked up the bike, and I got a cool yellow helmet. I'll show you that. It's not that I wanted yellow or anything else. It was that yellow fit, and of what they had. I just went by a place, there's a river back there, Saco River, and just packed with people. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Just packed with people going tubing and, you know, that kind of thing. Is it some kind of like safety in numbers? Couldn't you do something different this year? I know it's summer and everything, but you know, I don't know. I know there's a lot of people. I guess gotta be grateful there's not a ton of them all over Burke, although some people would say there's tons of them all over Burke. But you know, we've made changes this year, and what we do, we're not going to Maine to the ocean with grandkids like we've done before. We're not doing certain things. I don't know why. Is it, you know, is it just that Americans, as a general rule, just are not going to stop doing what they're going to do until it's a big problem? I really don't know. You know, it's one of those things. I don't have the answers. I don't know if, you know, people have issues with wearing masks. Well, you know what? I don't have an issue with that. It's an inconvenience, sure. So is wearing the seatbelt right now. So is staying on this side of the yellow line, you know, having to concentrate on that. But, you know, that's how it is. And does it infringe upon my rights kind of thing? Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. It protects other people. That's why people do it. Okay, so this is the line. The parking lot's full for a place called Diana's Baths. Okay, these people are all waiting to get in to go swimming in some water hole back there, I think, or something like that. Again, couldn't do something else today? I was just thinking about it. The first bike I bought was when I was like 13. That's when I sort of started working for myself. And I can remember there was this bike shop. It was in Rhode Island, and called Smitty's. And he fixed bikes and sold new bikes and everything else. And I remember, you know, the bike that I had wanted was $130 back then. And so, of course, I was 13. I had to come up with ways to make the $130 because my parents weren't going to give it to me. So I remember washing cars, and I started mowing other people's lawns, and, you know, $5 and $5 and $5. And I ended up coming up with the money and getting a 3-speed bike. But I ended up doing it, and that's how I ended up, you know, working for myself a lot, because the lawn business, and that was what, 60s, I think? Yeah, probably in the 60s, maybe early 70s, 60s, whatever. I can remember back then I would make, on average, you know, about $3,000 a summer mowing lawns. And I'd ride the bicycle all over, go to this one's house, mow the lawn. Of course, I used their lawnmower. And I did that for years until I got my license. And then when I got my driver's license, then I continued doing that. And back then, you know, it wasn't extravagant, but if you made $3,000-4,000 in a summer, I could live perfectly fine all year doing what I needed to do. Now, no, you couldn't do that, or I don't think you could. Somebody asked me recently, so if you were in charge of all this pandemic hoo-ha, how could we have changed all this? What do you think? And I said, well, this is just my opinion, and it surely would have hurt like hell, but I think we should have just shut down everything, every single thing, for April, May, 2 solid months of nobody going to work, nobody going anywhere, nothing basically happening, everything shut down. Yeah, it would have been an incredible, miserable 2 months. But I think that would have, you know, pretty much cured it. It would have, you know, pretty much put it in check, and that would have been the end of it, or, you know, not where we are now, with coming up, I think, on 160,000 people dead. And by the way, we're coming up to, not coming up, but in the not too distant future, we're also going to have flu season on top of coronavirus season. So flu season tends to be bad enough as it is, so now you throw this in, which is unchecked in a lot of places and growing. So maybe the 2 months of total misery would have been worth it, because then life would have continued as it was. As it is, it's not going to continue as it was. It's not coming back the way it was. Yeah, I imagine there's hardly anybody on these hiking trails today at all. Probably pretty deserted, actually, huh? Yeah, so I don't know how you do hiking socially isolated, etc., when there's people everywhere. Beats me.
1942, comedian David Steinberg was born. The Beatles began their last U.S. tour in Chicago. To guitarist The Edge, whose parents could not afford a real name.
Sure you can see it, but I can see it with my eye. The trees are starting already. Here it is, August 8th. Trees are starting to turn. A couple weeks there'll be even more. Falls are coming to northern New England. Not much more and I'll be home, and probably this afternoon I'll give the bike a test run. I'll have to set it up for my size. I'm sure it's set for a generic size and a little smaller than generic size, so I'll have to do all that. But then the kids I think they went hiking today with their parents and said they had a whole bunch of stuff she wanted to do at home, so hopefully everybody's had a good morning. I don't think I mentioned anything about coffee today. Coffee's been... Yesterday was farmer's market, went pretty well. I mean, I wouldn't say great, but pretty well. We're getting repeat customers, and you know, this kind of coffee isn't for everybody. It's the kind of coffee that you really gotta like coffee. You're willing to put some time into it. You know, if you're willing, you just want to grab the old scoop, stick it in the ground coffee, hit the button and go, it's probably not going to be coffee you're going to enjoy. It's just not going to work out very well for you. But it's been slow. I mean, you know, it's growing, but if you can get a dedicated group of people, which that part is growing, where people are buying, certain people are buying every week on a weekly basis. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And I'm going to work on, this week, I put out a thing about having coffee demonstrations, but I only had one person saw it on Facebook for Zoom. But I was thinking of doing them in person too. So I'll put some more out about that and see, you know, it might be more conducive in the coming weeks. But, you know, I think also right now people are doing vacation stuff and rafting and all that other things that they're doing. So it might be a little bit better, a week or two, maybe in the fall, but I'm not sure about it because, you know, once fall starts, then there's going to be a lot of fun that's happening with school and kids and, you know, are they going? How long are they going? What are they doing? You know, like grandkids' school is 8 o'clock. I think it starts, or they start letting them in at a certain time. Each one's going to get dropped off. I don't think there's going to be any bus service. So, I don't know. But we're working on different things for coffee and seeing what's working, what's not working. And hopefully just over time, it's one of those changing things, which I think, you know, I met some people from Boston who are pretty much staying up here. So she's used to good coffee. So she was buying coffee because she can't go to the coffee shops she used to go to in Boston because she's working from up here. Hopefully, on our end, that'll be a positive over time. Time will tell. commentary, God only knows, all kinds of things. And just about back home.